Keep right with Ralph K. Ginorio. Security cannot be bought with lost freedom. As new and damning information about Anthony Fauci continues to be revealed, I remember what we did to ourselves and to one another in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Fauci stoked a paranoid madness in us in order to both expand his own personal power and attempt to construct a historically significant reputation for himself. However, that eminence Greece of the Wuhan virus could not have wielded such destructive influence without plenty of willing accomplices. How many Americans sold out their neighbors, friends, colleagues, and blood relatives? How many people do you know who betrayed their trust? How many of our intimates insisted that we all submit to 1. Wholesale closure of schools, churches, and businesses, except, of course, for so-called essential ones like liquor stores. 2. Universal requirements that we mask our faces and socially distance ourselves. 3. Demand that we accept experimental drugs into our bodies or be punished. Never, ever forget those who lost their careers, their good names, their freedom, and even their lives through suicide for daring to insist on making up their own minds about such consequential matters. This fanaticism was not even excusable as a byproduct of momentary public panic, leading to a witch hunt. Public perception of COVID-19 did begin with a fear that this new virus was a germ warfare experiment gone wrong. No one really understood what facing a veritable supergerm would entail. There were no precedents. As such, the influence of false prophets such as Fauci and the raw fear that they sowed grew all out of proportion. Soon, every nation on earth began to enact radical policies of control that would never have been adopted in more normal times. In this panic-driven policymaking, psychological warfare techniques were prominently employed. For example, at the time, it was widespread public knowledge that the outbreak happened within a wet or meat market fewer than 2 city blocks away from the most prominent biological warfare facility in all of the People's Republic of China, the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Yet anyone who even questioned the narrative that COVID-19 spontaneously arose in the bat-ridden filth of a wet market was damned as a spreader of lies and misinformation who must be censored and suppressed. Scientific inquiry became subject to political pressure. What began as a human stampede quickly became the cold routine of someone's notion of a new normal. It went on in significant ways for over 3 years. No totalitarian dictatorship can rule any nation without significant public cooperation. With close to 20% of the population's active collaboration, the Jacobins purged France, the Bolsheviks Russia, the fascists Italy, the militarists Imperial Japan, the Nazis Germany, the Communists China, the Khmer Rouge Cambodia, the Hutus Rwanda, the Islamists Iran. The list goes on and on. Here in the United States, from 2020 through 2023, we saw that many who are close to us will sell us out because they believe the science more than they believe in living harmoniously alongside those of us who hold different beliefs. Fauci and those like him did great harm. But greater harm was done by fellow Americans who, during a crisis, threaten any dissent from their orthodoxy with violence. We need to learn from what too many of us did during COVID. We must resolve to never again, under any circumstances, permit such an undermining of our constitutional liberties. Security can never be bought with lost freedom. And now, because YouTube is doing its silliness over here, then I will count down this video. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for listening, and thank you for caring enough to take such ideas seriously. Farewell.